Rafal here as well, and we are going to see an incredible match here.
Yeah, this is one that we are very excited to jump into, as you see some interesting Pokemon to start things off there. Of course, we've seen Zacian V in some decks before, maybe featured in Whimsicott at this very stage with EUIC, but now we have this opportunity to see it in a different deck, as we have the Gardevoir Mirror.
The Gardevoir Mirror, absolutely. This is a breakout deck that people, I think, have really been on the fence about a little bit here as well, Kyle. But we're seeing a mirror match here today. It's not an exact mirror, though. We definitely have a lot of differences in these decks, but I'm excited to get into this. We're starting over here on toward Reklev's side with a Battle VIP Pass. So that is a card that is going to be carrying over for us into this new format, and it is a strong card for this deck.
Yeah, this is a perfect start here for Tord to start to look through the deck, get a good feel for what all is there, what all is prized, and of course, it is a Tord Reklev original. You know that there is going to be a lot of consistency featured here, and sure enough, that Radiant Greninja is an excellent inclusion, going to be an opportunity to turn any of these Psychic Energies into additional cards. Start working on this setup, start to build a bench, and maybe get some of these Stage 1 and eventual Stage 2 Pokemon into play.
Yep, absolutely. Radiant Greninja plays a huge role in the format now, definitely, but Tord is going to be establishing his bench here with that. I didn't get to see what else is in the hands, but even that Zacian V being in the active position as well. Anytime these abilities are used, I'm sure they're going to be placing the coins there. But yeah, that Roar of the Sword, huge part of the deck as well. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Psychic Energy card and attach it to one of your Pokemon. Then you shuffle your deck. So that is a huge part of this deck as well. But your turn ends after you do that ability. So such a strong ability, but it does end your turn.
When you can't go an attack on the opening turn, this is usually the best it gets. I'm very happy ending my turn with an additional energy and saying, all right, figure this out.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not an attack, it's an ability. So Tord is definitely going to utilize that here, and that should be ending the turn after just the concealed cards after that Radiant Greninja as well. So we're going to be over onto Rafal's side here in a second. Let's see if we can see a similar setup here. I do see a Gardevoir in the hand, as well as, I believe, a level ball too. So we're at least going to see some more Pokemon out on the field here for Rafal.
Yeah, this is something that we worried about when we're thinking just in general of this new format. When we have this limited card pool, it means that a lot of the consistency cards that we're used to, we're not going to see anymore. No more Quick Ball is going to be featured, which would have been such an incredible inclusion in a deck like this. Instead, now you're going to have to use some of these other ways to search out Pokemon, and we see right now the Level Ball along with the Ultra Ball as the options to start building a bench. It's not going to lead to too much, though. Going to try to look for some additional cards here now.
Yeah, absolutely. Rafal also plays Battle VIP Pass, but there is, I don't think I saw one in the hands at least, so that is kind of a bummer to miss, because you can only use it on your first turn, but hopefully we'll see some potential more Pokemon come out. But we're just going to see the retreat here of the Ralts.
Yeah, this is into the Mysterious Tail Mew.
Yep.
It's got that beautiful new art on it, and surely going to be looking for that Battle VIP Pass here. Would be a great inclusion.
Yep, this is the top 6 cards, so you don't know what you're going to get, but I don't see that Battle VIP Pass, Kyle. No, just missed it, but hey, we got a level ball at least, so that can get another Pokemon out onto the field that's 90 HP or less, so can search out some more Pokemon from the deck here for a fall. But yeah, really wanted to see that Battle VIP, and now we're seeing it in the deck here at least, but nope, not going to come out on this first turn. So really, after that, that card is kind of just fodder, really.
Yeah, and I mean, that's fine in a deck like this. Of course, you're going to be eventually evolving these Ralts into Curlia, using Refinement and drawing over and over again. So this is a deck similar to Mew, where even though you don't like seeing the Battle VIP Pass, it's okay to have a card that you can just discard over and over again.
All right, here we go. Super important card here. That Manaphy is coming out onto the field. There is a Radiant Greninja over there, and that can be quite scary if you're playing a deck where a lot of your Pokemon can get sniped off of the bench here. So that Manaphy is going to be using that Wave Veil to protect the bench for now on Rafal's side. And then we're going to go into an Ultra Ball, discarding a Psychic Energy and a Roxanne here. So this is going to search out any Pokemon from the deck into Rafal's hand.
Yeah.
Ooh, are we going to see some more sword here?
Yeah.
Sword action?
Roar of the Sword, you know. This is it's going to be the go-to strategy, and we've already seen the retreat for the turn, so looks like this is just going to be a classic turn where you just get that energy, start to thin out your deck a little more, and start to build up that initial attacker for the game.
Absolutely. All right, so that Roar of the Sword is going to end the turn here, so we're going to be over on Tord's side after a quick shuffle here as well. Let's see how Tord moves through this turn, but you know, we do already have access to hopefully that Radiant Greninja if there's energy in hand, which I see plenty of in Tord's hand right now.
Yep, looks like we're going to start off with that, get some additional cards into the hand, and you see the rare candy. Is there some other pieces to go along with this?
Wow, Kyle, how'd you spot that? That was lightning quick there. Yeah, Rare Candy and the Miriam as well, which is going to be a new card for us. Kind of a later game card, but still very, very pivotal in this deck exclusively. All right, so we do just have our Ralts chilling here on the bench, and that is going to be a worker here for Tord. So just drawing into 3 cards here. Also allows you to discard a Stadium, but there is no Stadium in play, at least for right now. But that Kirlia is going to come down onto the field, evolving off of the Ralts here, which means we're going to be seeing such a strong ability being knocked off there for Tord Reklev, that refinement on the Kirlia.
Yeah, this is basically trade, which Tord has been dying to use for years now. It's been, but this is an ability that he has used to win so many international championships and find so much success. So no surprise here to see him find a way to combine this, and sure enough,
we're gonna see another one. So what happens is you discard a card and then you draw 2 cards off of that. It's exactly what you're saying, Kyle. It is that trade. It lets you grind through your deck, get the cards you need. And I mean, that is just so strong, especially in a brand new format. Consistency is key. So being able to get those cards into your hand is huge. And I mean, speaking of huge, look at this hand right now, Kyle.
Yes, this is something to definitely look for, and that's why a card like Worker makes sense in this deck. You don't really need to do too much. You just want to continue to build the hand, similar to Lost Box builds of the past, where eventually you just have so many resources and you can continue to thin through your deck that you are always going to find the answer you're looking for.
Yep, all right, so Tord Reklev now has fully loaded up that Zacian V. We saw a Storm Slash there from Tord. It is a 60 base damage move, but also does 30 additional damage for each Psychic Energy that is attached to the Zacian V. Zacian V is such a perfect inclusion into this Psychic deck.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. It's a fantastic opening attacker for you here, and I'm starting to get worried on the other side as Rafal has not done very much here. The setup is looking pretty slim, and is this a 1-card hand and a refinement?
Yeah. I was about to say that might be what it's coming down to. Unfortunately for Rafal, we are seeing that Miriam being played as well. Like I said, sometimes a later card to be played. It does allow you to shuffle up to 5 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck, which is huge. And then on top of that, you draw an additional 3 cards. So that's what we're seeing right now here from Rafal. It is 2 energy and that Battle VIP Pass. But hey, that Battle VIP Pass, as I mentioned, Kyle, perfect fodder for that refinement. So just being tossed into the discard pile there to draw into 2 more cards. And now you're seeing, you know, how important that Kirlia and that ability is to get through your deck here. So a couple more cards here for Rafal, and then we're going to go straight into a level ball here as well. So going back into the deck to get another Pokemon out. And right now it's just Zacian V versus Zacian V, essentially.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have my my friends behind me there with multiple Kirlia ready to roll, and this is where we're going to see an interesting decision from Rafal now. The level ball is there, but also the fog crystal. So do you go ahead and start to expand the bench, get multiple Ralts down into play, and maybe risk them? And it looks like it's going to be time.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know if we've really chatted a lot about, Kyle, about the differences of these decks as well. Rafal is playing a much different version of the Gardevoir deck than Tord, and that is going to include Mewtwo V Union, which is a highly anticipated card, I think, for this event. I think you can build this deck several ways, and this really is the two probably most popular ways that our players will be building this deck.
Yeah, it always performs well on the international stage, as we've seen before.
True.
Unfortunately, I haven't seen any of those pieces leave the deck yet.
I know,
so,
perfect for refinement, right?
Yeah,
if
eventually
you, can get 'em.
you need to start discarding those, and there's just not enough of a setup behind this Manaphy right now to feel comfortable.
Yeah. Absolutely, but here we go for Rafal. That is going to be, I believe that was the ability there, the Roar of the Sword, to search out that energy.
Yep.
Yep, and that is just going to be the end of the turn there after the use of that ability. The Manaphy is currently in the active position now, so that is going to be a quick knockout for Tord, and then that wipes that off the field at least. But let's see what Tord chooses to do here. We're going to start with a Fog Crystal, search for a Psychic Energy card or a basic Psychic Pokemon.
Yeah, we'll see if Tord ever decides to expand the bench past those two Kirlia, or just keep it clean there. We do see the Ralts being featured, potentially could be played down now, and this is an interesting thing that we see in this match with the Kirlias not being evolved. And you think, well, if you have the Pokemon, why not bring them out? It's because refinement is so good. You just want to continue to draw over and over and over again until your opponent makes you evolve and start using that Pokemon as either your main way to bring back energies or start attacking.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this point as well, I don't know if Tord plays his own Manaphy. Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah, there is a Manaphy in the list as well, but we actually haven't seen a Radiant Greninja yet from Rafal's side, but Rafal does have a Radiant Greninja as well. So, like we said, very similar builds of this deck, but definitely very different. I think in the later stages of the game especially. All right, Tord's just going to grab the Ralts out there, Kyle, from that Fog Crystal. It's going to go straight into the hand here. Look at that hand size. I can't believe it.
Yeah, this starts to become work for a little bit. You continue to build up, and easy decisions there when you see the Battle VIP pass.
Absolutely, yeah. It's nice to be using an ability here, but not having to send anything to the lost zone, right, Kyle? You just get those cards into your hand instead. Very, very nice. And that is going to be a level ball here from Tord as well. I believe it was also a level ball and a Psychic Energy off that first refinement that we saw from Tord too. So, yeah, we're just seeing very consistent play here so far from this deck.
Yeah, expect to see a lot of this excellent sequencing throughout this match as we see the level ball being used, search out that Ralts, and then of course there's another Battle VIP pass in the hand, likely going to be the fodder used on that refinement, and to continue to just build this hand up, and there's no real reason to stop using the Zacian V. Just continue to take prizes that your opponent's going to feed you.
Absolutely, especially, you know, just taking that Manaphy out, getting another prize card. Right now, Tord has taken the only prize card of the game so far. But like I said, a lot of things could change potentially in the later stages of the game here for both of our players. But here we go. We're going to see another refinement here from Tord. Like you said, Kyle, just tossing that Battle VIP pass away. And we can't stay away from these level balls. They're all over the place here, and an Ultra Ball as well. So tons of search potential here for Tord.
Yeah, level ball is a great card in this deck, not only to guarantee that you get those Ralts out early enough, but eventually it also searches out that Kirlia too, as it only has those 80 hit points, and that lines up pretty great.
So nice. Lines up very, very smoothly. We have not seen an energy so far for the turn from Tord, an energy attachment yet. Ooh, we're going to see the level ball for the Manaphy here that I was talking about. We'll see if Tord decides to bench it or not, or kind of wait to see if it needs to take up a bench space so far. But we're just going to see the Ultra Ball discarding it along with a Professor's Research for a Lumineon. So thinning out the deck here. And then we're going to see that Lumineon come down, and that Luminous Sign ability is going to search out a boss's orders here for Tord Reklev.
Yeah, these are both decks that only feature those psychic energies, so we won't see the Radiant Greninja ever attacking. It's just that main way to start to load up those psychic energies into the discard pile. We see Tord has already reached 4 in the discard, so there's an opportunity to start bringing those energies back onto the board if you so choose. And sure enough, with that boss's orders, we're going to get a good feel for how Tord wants to approach this. Not worried by that Zacian V at all. Going to go after the heart right there as the Kirlia, and I do not blame him at all for this play.
Absolutely. The engine is what you want to target down. Make sure you put as many obstacles in the way of your opponent as possible. The collapsed stadium is going to come down as well, so it's going to limit that bench for both of our players.
That is so clean. You get to lose that Luminion, which is such a liability on the board. And sure enough now, got a great prize card lined up for you in that Kirlia. Your opponent really has not much going on there, and they don't have nearly the hand size that you do. What an excellent start here at the European International Championship for Tord.
Absolutely, and we're just stacking the energy here. So as the energy is attached per turn from Tord onto that Zacian V, it just gets stronger. 30 more damage done from that Zacian V. Each energy, that Kirlia is wiped off the board here, nice and easy. It's doing tons of damage.
Yes.
It didn't need any additional there for that Kirlia there, but
it's getting disrespectful.
it's getting disrespectful, Kyle. That Kirlia is gone. Tord Reklev going to take another prize card here, and we're back over to Rafal's side. So now we're down one of those Kirlias, so we only have one refinement that Rafal's able to work with at this point in time. Manaphy is back in the active position as well, so we'd have to see some sort of pivot here if Rafal wants to at least start attacking. We're going to see that refinement is going to get us a Serena here into the hand.
Yep, finally one of those pieces of the Mewtwo V Union. The Fog Crystal was also held onto before the refinement, and now we're going to see that used here. So maybe this is going to be an opportunity to bring one of those Ralts into play that we saw shuffled back in from the Miriam. So we'll see what the strategy is now.
Absolutely, yep. Just searching through the deck here. I gotta say, Kyle, it's a little odd seeing the different color borders. I'm not used to it. You can tell which cards are new from that Scarlet Violet set.
Yeah, we have not seen this in a long time. I don't think we've been able to play any Japanese cards since like 2008 or something. It's been so long. So to see these featured and eventually take over the TCG, we're going to lose all of the yellow borders. Eventually, it's going to be something else. But for now, we have a cute little mix.
Cute little mix there, indeed. Speaking of cute, that artwork on that Mew coming back down onto the bench here. Another Mew, which at least can help with that mysterious tail if it is in the active position. All right, that Serena, that's a perfect card to play when you want to discard some Mewtwo V Union pieces. Have you seen how many legs and heads have been discarded into that pile yet, Kyle?
Yeah, just a single wing there. We're nowhere close to the family meal here.
All right, we're gonna see the Fog Crystal searching through the deck here for that psychic energy on Rafal's side of the field as well. So far, Kyle, what do you think of this match? Is this how you expected it to be going? Just Zacian V versus Zacian V?
Yeah, I think that we're not seeing the true potential from Rafal. This has just not been an ideal setup, and unfortunately, just missing that opening battle VIP pass is really become an issue. We're going to see a little more search here now with this Mew from Celebrations coming back in, trying to find some additional resources, but there's only one Kirlia in play right now. If Tord's able to target that down, how do you ever win this game?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a huge part of your deck that is just gone now. Of course, that mysterious tail, looking at the top 6 cards of your deck, and then you get to choose an item card. One thing we have not discussed yet, Kyle, is item cards are now separate from tool cards. That is a very essential thing to remember here, because before they were combined and you could grab a tool card, count it as an item, but now they are separated. So item cards are just item cards, tool cards are in their very own category. Yeah,
that's a great point. I think the 2 main interactions we're going to run into is going to be this Mew and along with the Cramomatic that's featured in most of the Mew Genesect decks that we see.
Yeah, I'm hoping that none of our Mew players try to cram away a tool card. We have to stop them from that happening. Look at that. A basic energy here coming down onto that Zacian V, loaded up on the bench. I believe that was from the Roar of the Sword because we already saw the attachment to hard retreat off of that Manaphy earlier in the turn. So that's just another energy, and it's that silver border one as well for Rafal. So we're back over on Tord's side of the fields now. Let's see, how much damage are we doing here, Kyle?
A fair amount. There's it's what, 180 right now, I believe.
Yeah, 180 here on that Zacian V currently.
Yeah, so there's of course that opportunity to eventually get to that 220 that you're looking for. Just two additional energies, you'll be able to knock out that other Zacian V, but I don't think that's what Tord's really looking for here. When you look through the list, we see the one Boss's Orders and the one of Palpad. Yeah. This is not a deck that needs many supporters, but when you are thinning as well as Tord is, you're going to find them at the right opportunities. So with that, Palpad has that potential to bring the Boss's Orders back into play and maybe start to target down that Kirlia.
Absolutely. We saw that refinement there from Tord, discarding that Professor's Research into a fresh 2 cards. It's going to be, I believe, another Psychic Energy and that Celebrations Mew as well on Tord's side. That hand is huge, and the deck is getting thinner here for Tord. So just as you said, Kyle, things are going to fall into place just at the right time. Concealed cards being used to discard one of those energy, draw into 2 additional cards. All right, there's that rare candy that you spotted earlier, Kyle. That's a beautiful art of it too.
Yeah, that's a good. There's so many different rare candy arts, and I always judge people by which ones they choose, and I think that's in my top 3. So nicely done, Tord.
All right, there we go. So that is going to be the rare candy into that Gardevoir, and then we saw a penny as well, which allows you to put one of your basic Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your hand. So just pick up there, and then another Pokemon here, that Cresselia, coming into the active position here for Tord.
Yeah, this is a fun one. We're going to see some of these energies thrown into play here, and as we start to see all of these played down, there's this opportunity with the Cresselia to move the damage counters from these Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon, and I see some good targets on the other side.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that Cresselia fits so nicely into this deck, absolutely. Of course, that Gardevoir as well with the Shining Arcana is what we saw there. Once during your turn, look at the top 2 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic energy and onto your Pokemon in any way you like. And then the other cards just go straight into your hand as well.
Yeah, the Gardevoir EX here with the Psychic Embrace, being able to load up all of these energies and get that additional damage into play is the reason that we see this phenomenal move here.
Right.
That gets to take down this Kirlia without even having to use a Boss's Orders.
That Psychic Embrace, so many beautiful arts here, Kyle.
Yes, there's a lot going on
like,
this side.
Which Gardevoir am I looking at?
Pretty purple card. Get him.
Absolutely, yep. That Psychic Embrace there from Tord, which is those damage counters and then just moving them onto the field there. And Tord is now down to those 3 prize cards left.
Yeah, you can start to count them out at this point. If there are additional Psychic Energies that could be put into play there, then this Cresselia could certainly take one more non-V knockout, and then surely you'll be able to clean up the board here with either that Zacian V or eventually bringing one of those Arcana Gardevoirs into play.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the main 2 things. So really, we're working with multiple Gardevoir here, the EX and that Shining Arcana little baby Gardevoir as well. So we're seeing an Ultra Ball here from Rafal's side of the field.
And yeah, this has just been a slow grind here on the other side for
Unfortunately.
Rafal. Just trying to build a hand, doing everything they can to try to work their way back into this game. And it's very hard to do when you don't have the whole lifeline of the deck. Those Ralts, those Kirlia in play, you're not going to draw through, and you can see that in the deck size that we have now. He's nowhere close to seeing all of the cards that Tord does.
Do you think this also just comes down to the differences in consistency playing the Mewtwo V-Union version of this deck, as far as like so many pieces of your deck are so different from a build like Tord's? I mean, Tord is famously known for building consistent decks, and we're kind of seeing the lack of that, unfortunately, on Rafal's side.
Yeah, it's there just wasn't enough in that early game setup, and it's no fault of Rafal. Tried everything there with the level ball, getting to that Celebrations Mew, and just not finding the right pieces there to really build a board state. And Yeah, you can consider a little bit of that because there's 4 Mewtwo V Union pieces floating around, but we didn't see them this game, so we can't really blame them this time around.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, here we go for Rafal. Let's see what else happens here on this turn. I'm rooting for him, Kyle.
Eventually, we will see a prize card. now, will it be a relevant prize card? Not sure.
Yeah.
As we see the 15th Roar of the Sword of the game.
Oh my goodness, stacking up those energy there onto the field. So that is a very strong, at least, Zacian V.
One of these days, buddy.
One of these days, that Zacian V will be used here. I promise you all. But here we go on towards side of the field. I mean, just look at this board state now, Kyle. This is so strong here.
Yeah, this is a very comfortable feeling as Tord just continues to find some fodder pieces, throw those away with refinement, build this hand all the way back up, and all the resources are going to be there. If you can find enough psychic energies, you can of course use this Cresselia one final time, maybe take it out one of those Ralts, and then that boss's orders to clean up the game just makes so much sense.
Absolutely. We're still going through the deck here. That deck is looking so slim from Tord's side of the field, but I'm sure no worries there. Tord is a master of knowing his cards, knowing how many are in deck, how many are in hand, how many recycling cards he has as well. So the level ball is just going to bring out that Kirlia to thin even more from the deck and into the hand. I think the hand is actually bigger now than the deck.
Yeah, it's not a surprise there. We see also plenty of psychic energies in the discard pile. It really just depends on how Tord wants to go about this turn. As you could play down a lot of energies onto these Pokemon that don't exactly need them, and then maybe you don't have the resources to knock out a big Pokemon like a Gardevoir EX. So very curious to see how you go about a turn like this. Do you even promote the Zacian V and say, you know what, eventually you can take these prize cards if you want. I kind of like knowing where my energies are because I can just go double Gardevoir and I'm going to load up a giant knockout. And sure enough, we see this.
Yeah. Absolutely. You called it there. That Psychic Embrace that we mentioned last turn is going to be utilized here on that Zacian V.
Yeah, plenty of energies to go around here. We also see that boss's orders in the hand. Says, you know what? At this point, I'm going to knock out something. Let's go ahead and take these 2 prize cards, go down to just 1 remaining, and there's plenty of opportunities to close out.
Absolutely. Here we go. It's very strong Zacian V versus very strong Zacian V, but unfortunately, I promised you all, but I don't think that promise is coming true, Kyle, unfortunately.
Yeah, Tord has done more damage to his side of the board than Rafal.
Yes, definitely. Navigating through all of these turns here, that's going to be another 2 prize cards for Tord Reklev in this Gardevoir mirror match. Rafal now. No more Zacian V here, and just, unfortunately, working with so little.
Yes, crumbs at this point. There's nothing going on. We need to see multiple rare candies to have multiple Gardevoir ready to go at this stage, and even then, there's a lot of low hit point Pokemon that could easily be cleared up from that Cresselia.
Absolutely. Well, at least we'll see the Ultra Ball here to discard 2 cards and be able to search out any Pokemon. And it is going to be that Kirlia that is so essential to this deck. We're going to see the instant evolution there for Rafal. And we're going to see the refinement as well. So discarding that Temple of Sinnoh, drawing into another 2 cards here is going to be that Shining Arcana Gardevoir, as well as one of those Mewtwo V Union pieces. But that's all that Rafal can do, unfortunately. And Tord is just going to take this game.
Yeah, I do love the sign of respect. Allow your opponent to take that final knockout, and let's move on to the next game. Yep. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of time in that opening game there, so Rafal is going to have a lot of work to do in this final 21 minutes of the match to even try to work out a tie at this stage. And this is a slower build, of course, featuring that Mewtwo V Union. So getting that into play, maybe finding some success with it, it's going to be tricky when we've seen the speed of Tord.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Kyle, I was kind of wondering what it would feel like casting these matches because we're working with totally different decks, totally different cards. I was wondering how the pace of play would kind of change. And so far, I mean, I've noticed a lot of differences. You saw Tord, you know, just getting through that deck and which is usually what we see from Lost Box, but a lot of those cards are going into the Lost Zone. But this time, you're just stacking up a majorly large hand and being able to work with so many aspects of your deck at once.
Yeah.
I love that.
This is something that you may not have seen if you haven't played Pokemon
Yes,
as long as I
exactly.
have. These are setup decks.
These are setup decks.
Which is a very fun thing to see. Sure enough, this is a fantastic combination of cards there, with the Kirlia basically acting as that Zoroark trade, drawing over and over and over again. And then, of course, you have the evolution lines. Both of those Gardevoir are fantastic and provide a lot of fun, exciting back and forth. But there is a little bit of a build-up there. As you see, both these players need to get those setups, and then they start to get their game plan rolling.
Well, I hope we get to see the full potential of Rafal's deck here in this match coming up, because there is a lot of potential with this Mewtwo V-Union build. So this has been so heavily discussed in the community leading up to this event. There's so many possibilities and options that you have with the Mewtwo V-Union if you're able to get there. You can go aggressive with it. You can kind of bring it out in the last couple turns of the game. So I'm excited to see what Rafal has for us. Hopefully a much better start here in the beginning turns. Of course, since Rafal did lose that last game between these players, they will get to choose who goes first or second. And yeah, we're just going to kick off this next game.
Yep, looking forward to it here.
Absolutely. So both active Pokemon in place here for our players. We're just going to set up the prize cards. Let's take a look at them now, see if there's anything. Wow, a lot of, oh my gosh, Tord with 3 Battle VIP pass.
Yeah, when you're eventually looking for some help off of the prize cards and you just continue to find, oh, well, I guess that's a refinement.
Yeah, that's
a refinement.
That's very true. Going to be very difficult. What if the single, last copy was just in the hands, too, for Tord? That would be wild.
I'm not ready for that.
All right, here we go. Jumping into this second match here between these players. Tord up 1-0 right now, and it comes down to this. Can Rafal kind of save this, pick up this game, maybe turn it into a tie here potentially as well? But we're starting off the turn with that Fog Crystal to search out a Psychic Pokemon or a Basic Energy, but getting those Pokemon established early on is very important. We do have the Ralts in the active here, and that Celebrations Mew on the bench so far.
Yeah, good to see these Pokemon thinned out early here with the Fog Crystal. I'm expecting to see
Fog Crystal there.
Yeah, it's very nice there, and of course there are energy in the hand, so the retreat into that Mew from Celebrations is gonna make a lot of sense. You have the potential to find one of those Battle VIP passes that we've been talking about. It's such a great find early on, and maybe we see a different game if we see 3 to 4 Ralts on this early setup.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting those Ralts established early on are so important, so you can jump into those Kirlia evolutions as soon as you possibly can here. We are going into that Mysterious Tail here off of this Mew. Gonna get a Level Ball here as that item card being searched out for Rafal. So that is gonna allow Rafal to potentially even go back into the deck and get another Pokemon, which is looking like is exactly what's going to happen here. As you said before, Kyle, you can get the Ralts or the Kirlia, and it's going to be the Kirlia being searched out of the deck.
Yeah, there was a Battle VIP pass there and chose not to go for it. Instead, wanted to find the Level Ball, guarantee the 2 Kirlia there, and is going to just bring that energy into play from Roar of the Sword. So next turn, multiple Kirlia ready to go. Refinement's going to be lined up, but not going to see that explosive setup of over and over again, just playing down 3, potentially 4 refinements.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, look at in the deck list for Tord here if we do see a lot of disruption, but all I'm seeing is 1 Judge and 1 Roxanne from Tord Reklev there. Is it usual to build these decks with not a ton of disruption cards in them, Kyle?
Yeah, there's no need, as you're going to find the consistency of working through your deck with refinement. So eventually you just play a lot of almost tech supporters, and you have that Pal Pad, of course, for when you find that one supporter that you really like for a certain matchup. You can go back-to-back Roxanne, back-to-back Boss's Orders, and eventually you thin the deck down enough to be able to pull those whenever you need it.
You want to hold on to your cards.
Yeah, not my Battle VIP passes, but you know, most the good ones.
Yeah, so having that option there, you know, especially Roxanne for the later portions of the game. So it's still in the deck, there is the option there, but yeah, as Kyle said, getting through with those refinements is such an essential part of this deck. I mean, we're seeing the mirror match here Oh, we're going to see the boss's orders here for that Ralt. So very similar as we saw in the last game toward just targeting down that draw engine on Rafal's side. If Rafal's not able to get through the deck and draw things potentially down the line, that could be really tough. But this, at this point, just passing back over to Rafal is just going to be another pivot that he has to get through for this turn.
This is the window that Rafal's been waiting for so desperately. We see multiple Curlia here. The refinement's going to be lined up.
Yep.
Potential to build onto this Zacian V and get it loaded up here. And there's nothing going on in Tort's hand. We got a peek of it. When you see a boss's orders played on a Ralts just to try to buy some time, you know that it's not going to go well.
Absolutely. So there we go. That extra pivot because of the boss's orders there from Rafal, but that Mew is being brought back into the active position here after that hard retreat. So here we go, going into another Fog Crystal.
Yeah, just finding some additional energies. These are great cards to get into the discard pile early on with refinements, and we do see that one Curlia there. I expect to see the second one too. Just depends on how you want to order this.
Yep, looks like it's going to be a refinement first here. So discarding that card, drawing 2. We're going to see the second refinement here now, discarding an easy Battle VIP pass there into another 2. We do see that first Mewtwo V-Union piece now in Rafal's hand, but both refinements have been used at this point in time, so we'd have to see some other way to discard, but we have not seen the Mysterious Tail here from this Mew so far. So jumping into that, going to be able to search out that item card as well. Looks like a Fog Crystal, Ultra Ball there, but it's going to be the Fog Crystal and just jumping back straight into the deck to use it.
Yep, we'll see what card is selected there. I haven't seen the supporter as well. Looked like there was a Professor's Research that could be used, and there was an opportunity if Rafal wanted to use, there was an Ultra Ball. He could have used that Ultra Ball and found another Mewtwo V-Union piece and then discarded 2 of those with the Professor's Research, but doesn't look to be the optimal strategy here. Instead, just going to go for a little more consistency.
All right, yep, consistency indeed. Bringing out another Ralt here onto the board to have that potential down the line, or if Tord again goes for the route, if we could see Tord, you know, get some cards here as well, goes for the route of targeting those down, having as many as he possibly can, maybe is what Rafal is just trying to cement in here. But we are going to see that Professor's Research, so that Mewtwo V-Union piece is going to go into the discard pile. Tord taking a quick look at that as well, into a fresh 7 cards here for Rafal.
Yeah, calculated risk there, discarding that Psychic Energy with the Professor's Research, and did not find another Psychic Energy. So going to miss the attachment for the turn here.
Which, I mean, I feel like this deck plays a lot of Psychic. Well, this one, Rafal's deck plays 11 Psychic Energy.
Yeah, so it just means that we may see some additional damage on the Zacian V if it wants to get accelerated to, or you're just going to have to find that energy next turn, as likely we'll see that Roar of the Sword closing out this turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the ability to just search into those at the end of your turn is definitely very strong here. Definitely a strong option. All right, that Greninja, Radiant Greninja that we didn't get to see last game on Rafal's side of the field is now joining us as well. So we're just going to see that Radiant Greninja come down onto the field, and then the Zacian V is going to use that Roar of the Sword to attach the energy and end the turn here for Rafal. So already a much stronger start than we saw before in the last game for Rafal. And let's see if the tides kind of turn, and it's sort of the opposite here for Tord.
Okay, those were huge. That had to be basically those cards in order to keep Tord in the game. It was Curlia and I believe Ultra Ball as well. So
nice.
Fantastic cards to find there in order to potentially start to build this into a decent setup, because we saw nothing. It was, what, multiple Gardevoir sitting in the hand there, and you need to be using Refinement every single turn.
Absolutely, yeah. I believe there's a Zacian V in the hand as well for Tord. Yeah, and then I think I saw a double Gardevoir. It's so hard to tell which ones they are because of these artworks, but there are multiple Gardevoir in the hand here for Tord.
The gameplay will explain it to us.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. All right. So just deciding how to sequence this turn here so far for Tord. We're starting off with a Refinement, though. Going to discard one of those Gardevoir here into a
Wow.
fresh 2 cards, a level ball and a fog crystal.
Yeah, and you can see Tord trying to work out the sequencing,
Yeah.
thinking, do I just need to use Miriam and draw with it? And you can discard this Gardevoir there, get a Pokemon in there, and then have that shuffle effect, draw 3 cards, and maybe start to see even more pieces. But finding the level ball and the fog crystal is excellent. This gives a little more room here to start to expand on this bench.
Yeah, honestly, just mentioning that, Kyle, thinking about sequencing for one of these decks when you have, you know, so many cards and so much potential in your hand, sequencing is so important. And I kind of like that because I feel like that kind of shows the strength of skill in a player.
Yes, it really speaks to that. As many players, they might just look and go, like, even if there was a Battle VIP pass in that hand for Tord, he would have still chose to discard the Gardevoir to open up the opportunity for the Miriam.
The Miriam,
at least that's how it looks like for now. And it's really strong play, and obviously it's what we've come to expect from him.
Absolutely. So we see that fog crystal to search out. I believe it was the energy card here, and then we're jumping back into the deck with that level ball. There's so many search cards that we see from really both of these players, and that's kind of what this deck is all about. Getting into those cards with the refinement, and then searching through your deck to grab what you need.
Yeah, thinning, sequencing, and a lot of resource management is the name of the game when you're playing this style of deck. As
Yes.
it is so important to make the most use of all of these cards that you have. And obviously, we saw a little bit of a fall there with the boss's orders had to be used early on to try to buy some turns, and that's a calculated risk that Tord's going to take. And we'll see that Pal Pad eventually as we now discard that Miriam.
Yep, it's going to be discarding the Miriam and that Gardevoir EX as well to the Ultra Ball, and is going to be searching out that Lumineon. So that Lumineon is going to be searching out that Professor's Research here for Tord, so maybe just taking a different approach to the turn here.
Yeah, I do like this. You haven't established a great hand just yet, and you feel comfortable bringing back these resources. It's like you never played them. You get to bring them right back in.
Pal Pad.
Get that nice big hand once more from the Professor's Research. And if you find a card like Collapse Stadium on this turn, you are in a fantastic position. You get to bench that Zacian V if you want to use that as your main attacker. You could limit your opponent's field as they don't have any Pokemon they want to lose right now, and you get to lose that Lumineon.
Yeah, losing that Lumineon. I feel like that's how we're going to see Collapse Stadium be played throughout several different decks here along this weekend. It is such a great inclusion into some of these decks to wipe those liabilities straight off of the field. So we saw that last game for Tord Reklev. Let's see if we get to see it again here. But it is just going to be an attachment here for the turn before the research, of course, for Tord onto the Radiant Greninja to supply the energy for the potential pivot in the upcoming turns here. And then we're going to just jump into a fresh 7 cards off of that Professor's Research. Let's see what we see in the hand here.
Yeah, doesn't look like much. Unfortunately, did miss on a few of those key pieces that would have helped out this turn. And we did see the discard of the Zacian V, so Tord also signaling that maybe this isn't a game where I can afford to lose 2 prize cards at any point.
Yeah, potentially. And I mean, that's what's nice about this deck, that you can kind of play it how you want. You can bring out the Zacian V and turn it into a multi-prize deck, or you can go single prize cards and just lead with your other Pokemon.
Well, Manaphy's not very great in this matchup, so go ahead and promote that. Leave that as an opportunity for your opponent to get a prize card. And there's only 7 minutes left. Maybe there's not enough time to draw all 6 prize cards if you can work this Lumineon off of the board with that Collapse Stadium.
Yeah, I was talking a lot about Manaphy, but as you pointed out, Kyle, yeah, the Radiant Greninja needs some water energy. So unless there's some rainbow psychic energy, or scooting around here,
maybe in a few formats, we'll see.
Yeah, honestly,
we need a couple more cards to be released.
Absolutely, that would be wild. Actually, that fit perfectly in here. But here we go. We're back over to our Rafal's side of the field. So Tord at least got some setup here. But as you mentioned, Kyle, there's only 6 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock here for our players. So Rafal really is being in the stronger position with more energy here on the boards. Zacian V is now loaded up here, is able to start taking some knockouts with that Storm Slash. We're going to see the Ultra Ball searching into the deck, discarding 2 cards there, that Peonia. I didn't see the other card, but here we go, going into the deck here with the Ultra Ball. But yeah, I feel like at this point, does Rafal kind of want to start moving faster to potentially be able to take some prize cards?
Oh, it's go time. Yeah, absolutely here. As we see, I think it was 4 additional energies in the discard pile.
Yep.
Access to those is now unlocked as we see both Gardevoir and Gardevoir EX played down onto this side of the board. And I expect to see some of these cards accelerated.
All right, we're going to see that Shining Arcana here for Rafal. Oh. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, just talking through it.
Talking about how to reveal them.
How to reveal them here. Yes, you look at the top 2. If one is a Psychic Energy, you can attach it to the board. Or if it's not, you just keep the cards. So we're going to see another refinement here. Or sorry, first refinement for the turn here from Rafal.
Yep, and now there's this opportunity to use the Gardevoir EX. You can Psychic Embrace. And,
yes.
Get that energy to retreat this Mew.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, really, there are so many ability. This is such an ability-heavy deck, really, when you think about it. But yeah, we're going to see the retreat of that Celebrations Mew coming out of the active position into that Zacian B, as we were talking about, able to start taking some knockouts here, is just going to knock that Manaphy off of the field here. That Tord was not worried about losing here, but hey, that's a prize card here now for Rafal's side of the field.
Yeah.
So 4 minutes left, though.
Exactly. You can see the difference in strategy from Game 1 to Game 2. As normally, Rafal wants to do something similar to what Tord did.
Yes.
Just use Refinement over and over and over again. Eventually, Zacian V just takes some prize cards for you, and then you evolve. But with the time crunch, you can see just had to evolve these Pokemon right now, get the energies into play, and hopefully take a prize card every single turn from this point out.
Yep, that's what we're going to need to see here in order for Rafal to at least turn this into a tie. Of course, if Tord does take this game without letting Rafal take a win here, then Tord will be taking the set for this match. All right, let's see what Tord has to work with so far in the hand here.
Yeah, I got some bad news for Rafal. These turns take time.
Yes,
There is a lot of actions that we could see here, and it looks like Tord, understanding the situation, is going to bring out that Gardevoir as well and says, yeah, I need to accelerate some energies too if I want to keep up in this game.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, so here we go. We're going to see, it looks like a judge here from Tord. So both players are going to be shuffling their hands into their deck. This was one of those disruption cards I was talking about. So an option for you to use if you don't like the hand that you're looking at, and also thins down your opponent's hand as well. So gonna draw into 4 cards for both of these players.
Yeah, this is what I was speaking about when we saw the lack of refinement on the side for Rafal. It's now there's no real opportunity to build the hand back up unless you find the right cards off this judge. You only have access to that 1 refinement. Hopefully you have some psychic energy still around for that Radiant Greninja to help out, and looks like he found a little bit of help, but not a lot.
Yep, looks like, yeah, I saw a Mewtwo V Union piece. We see a Clara, Psychic Energy to the hand. Let's see what Tord gets off this 4. Professor's Research, a couple Psychic Energy. I think it was a Mew in the hand as well. We also saw the concealed cards to draw those 2 extra cards from Tord too.
Yeah, Tord was really hoping to find Kirlia there, as that would have kept the chain going. Multiple refinements potentially could have been lined up. And of course, we've talked about all of the search that's available. There's the level ball, the ultra ball, and plenty of ways to eventually find that Pokemon, and found nothing off that judge.
Yep, at least got that pivot there. We see the Cresselia now in the active position with that energy attached for the Moon Glow reverse here. And look at that, we're going to see all of those psychic embraces to get those energy out of the discard pile and then do those 2 damage counters to these Pokemon as well. So spreading around the damage counters, but those are about to be moved along here onto Rafal's side of the field.
Yeah, I think Kirlia is going to have to carry this, and it is not looking forward to it, as there's plenty of damage, a little too much to carry.
A little too much, yeah. That is an understatement for sure there, Kyle. All right,
Whee!
here we go. Whee!
This is, yep, there you go. Hold that for me. And you just lost all your refinement, and I judged you. So hopefully you don't find anything. And the only real glimmer of hope now is that there is a psychic energy with that Radiant Greninja. But boy, are you working with what you got on board? Because there's not much else in the hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, this is tough. Well, at least we get to see that Shining Arcana here, drawing 2 cards. Ooh, another Mewtwo V-Union piece and an Ultra Ball here. So that's now 2 Mewtwo V-Union pieces. At least some easy discard fodder here for a fall, but there's 39 seconds here now on the clock, Kyle.
Yep. Ain't been to school in a minute, but math is telling me this doesn't work out.
Some quick maths here, Kyle. Yeah, this has definitely been an interesting game 1 for us to be casting for sure. Things have been very slow, really from both these players showcasing how long these turns take from a Gardevoir deck.
Well, I guess the one glimmer of hope is maybe you get enough pieces of the Mewtwo V-Union down. We could see Psysplosion help to steal a bunch of cards. Like, maybe you knock out a bunch of Ralts and can steal a victory in that sense, but you got to start taking prize cards quick, and I think time was just called.
I believe so, because we hit that timer. Of course, Rafal taking another prize card at least here off of that Cresselia. So down to 4 prize cards left. Back over to Tord. Yeah, that Psysplosion is definitely something we usually see on the back end to clean up and have multiple prize cards turns, placing those 16 damage counters potentially. So maybe we see that, but of course now we're in turns here, so there's only 3 additional.
10 seconds away from Rafal potentially having a route to victory. As if this Lumineon was not able to go away, then maybe you get those 2 prize cards, and then you could clean up with Psysplosion, knock out this Gardevoir EX, something along those lines to take 4 prizes. But just the fact that that turn took a little too long means that Rafal has 1 more turn this match, and that's not enough to take 4 prizes, to my knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, yeah, as long as we're seeing everything correctly here, I agree with you there, Kyle. That's what it comes down to sometimes, unfortunately. All right, here we go from Tord. Discarding. So, so Rafal
was turn 0.
Tord will be turn 1, and then Rafal will have 2, and Tord will have the last turn for that. 3 additional turns if it goes into time here. So we're just seeing Tord play through this turn. Now finally has that Kirlia to evolve into here off the Ultra Ball.
Yeah, this is actually a really strong hand. Has the professor's research along with the psychic energy too. So Tord's gonna get that perfect setup. Down 2 prize cards, and I would have really loved to see the end of this game, as there was potential for some fireworks here. And it's a little unfortunate, but of course we play with the time constraint because we have a lot of Pokemon to play this weekend, and we can't sit here and watch every game, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, we do get to see 9, though, which is nice.
Yeah, we take those.
Yeah, we take those. We definitely take those. Getting to see everything streamed from round 1 as well is awesome. We don't get to see that with our regional events. We start in like around 4.
Yep.
So starting in round 1 is awesome to see at these events. But here we go, Fog Crystal. Jumping back into the deck to get another. Look at all the energy that's out right now.
Tord already just throws it in the discard. He was like, oh, wait a second, there's stuff I have to do first.
Yes, absolutely. Just using that level ball, getting another Kirlia out here for Tord. Look at that. That's going to be 3 Kirlia on the bench.
Yep, that's what you're looking for. Refinement is one of the best abilities in the game, and it's wild, as it's a stage 1 Pokemon that evolves into something very strong, but it is just the ability to work through your deck and chain these together, draw upwards of 8 cards a turn is unreal.
All right, so now we have that Gardevoir EX here. I believe this is the first time we've seen it actually attack. It's going to use that Miracle Force for 190 damage, and then it also allows you to recover from special conditions as well, which is a really cool inclusion to the move, but not applicable here. So it's just going to see that damage, and now we're back over to Rafal's side of the field.
Yep, and if we are correct in the time, then this is the last turn that we have for Rafal. And,
yes.
obviously you want to take some big prize cards here, and it's a good way to clean up on stage. But to win this game is unrealistic at this point.
Yeah. Unfortunately. You hate to see it play out like this, Kyle, but hey, you never know what's going to happen. This is our round one that we're getting through. Interesting to see a Gardevoir mirror match in our round one. Do you think this is going to be a very popular deck throughout the weekend, Kyle?
So initially I was worried that nobody would find the right list. And silly me, of course, Tord's going to find something strong. But of course, this Mewtwo V Union list has potential, and if it draws well, it potentially has a higher threshold for success.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think just from the head shakes and such there, I think this was Rafal's last turn here. So that means we're on turn 3 now, which is going to go to Tord.
I'm done.
Look at that. That's it. I'm done here. So these players are going to shake hands, and Tord is going to be the winner of this set here because we saw Tord take that game 1, and the conclusion of game 2 went to time.
Yep, it's a fun way to start things off here on the opening of this incredible event, the European International Championship. Starting off with a win for Tord Reklev, a 4-time international champion, and once more winning on this stage. Has to feel good.
Definitely has to feel good. Always like starting with a win here for our players, but especially when you're Tord, I'm sure trying to make it as far as possible. I wonder if Tord kind of faces any sort of extra pressure coming to these events, especially these ICs as well, because, you know, a lot of people look up to Tord, and there's so much on the line as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would never want to be in those shoes. Of course, I want all the trophies and accolades and stuff that go along with it, but you have to feel like the level of play that you have to compete at over and over again is so high. So many expectations are placed on you, but he's always done a very great job of keeping himself level-headed and just looking at the next game and just playing one match of Pokemon at a time. It's something that we see these top-level players preaching over and over again. Azul always says the same thing of just like, even when he wins the event, it's just like, I'm just looking at the next one. And Tord's mindset has always been, I just want to win the World Championships. I love playing at these events. I love playing against the best players in the world, and it's great to win these events, but I really want that one piece to culminate all that I've done.
I know, absolutely, and I'm definitely rooting for Tord there on the future endeavors for sure. Taking down, I mean, that's just taking down so much, honestly. Unstoppable at that point, Kyle. But I'm sure a lot of our viewers at home, you know, as we've talked about, Tord is a very well-established player. You know, we saw him sitting at the #1 spot as well for our top 22 EU players as well. But I'm sure a lot of our viewers were wondering, you know, what did Tord choose to bring to this event? So now we got to see it. That is the door, I almost said the door here, the deck that Tord is playing for this event.
Well, it opened the door to some excellent drawing and a lot of consistency, which is exactly what Tord wants to do over and over again. And if I had to put money on it, I was going to guess that he was on Gardevoir. It just makes so much sense.
The refinement, too strong.
He played at an international championship that he won. He played Zorark Gardevoir.
Yeah.
It's built into the card now. He just doesn't have to waste time. He gets to just play it all in one deck. And there's some single prize Pokemon. It just makes so much sense. And it looks to be a very strong choice. I'm excited to see how it does against the rest of the meta, as we did only just see it in a pseudo mirror match there, the Mewtwo V Union, and there's definitely a lot to look forward to throughout the rest of this event.
Absolutely. So much to look forward to, but right now I'm looking forward to hearing from Tord Reklev. We have an interview lined up with Tord, so let's see how he's feeling.